On today's Toy Spot, we're having a look at the Dark Knight Staff Strike Batman. This came to us from the basic line of Dark Knight toys I was going to say last year, but when the Dark Knight movie toys were coming out. You know, it's actually worked itself rather well that Spot never got a chance to review these at the time that they were first released, because it also gives Spot a chance to show you guys some of the basic toys that were available to the public when the Dark Knight line was released. You can see, first of all, that it's a much larger line than the, if you ask me, a very embarrassing Dark Knight Rises line that is currently out. You can also see that there's just some accessories, and even the packaging is a step up. I promise I won't rant too much during this review. Down below we got a picture of Christian Bale as Batman. Brooding? That's new, isn't it? No, he's always brooding as Batman. He's always really brooding in general. Not just only as Batman, but in general. On the back, you can see that the Staff Strike, it rotates, it spins. I'm sure it makes a mean salsa as well. Down below you can collect some of the other basic figures. Zooming in. I would say even as far as the Scarecrow, which I think was probably one of the most disappointing figures of the basic line, the Scarecrow is still a step up from the really crappy line of toys that we've gotten, not excluding of course the Movie Masters Dark Knight Rises toys, but the basic figures from the Dark Knight Rises pale in comparison to at least this was something. The Joker, a little cartoony, yes, but at least he was a larger figure. He had, you know, like a little briefcase of gadgets and gizmos and stuff like that. There was something. It wasn't these little rinky-dinky figures. Okay, Spot's promising not to get way off topic here with a rant. But what I am going to do is take a bit of a break. I'm going to get this opened up, and when we come back, we're going to get a better look at Staff Strike Batman from the Dark Knight line. Stay tuned, there's more on the way. So, Batman's now out of the package. Let's have a better look at what constituted a basic figure during the Dark Knight line. You can see, first of all, it's a pretty good looking Batman. I mean, I would say it's almost on par with the Movie Masters line. The only thing that's missing really is a little bit of ab articulation, a little more movement in the shoulders and stuff like that. But it's still a pretty good looking line for a basic line of toys. Now, as a comparison, oh, you know, Spot's going to totally do it. Here's a basic figure around the time that it was released during the Dark Knight movie release. And here we have a basic Batman figure from the Dark Knight Rises. This figure probably would have cost you about $8, give or take, maybe $8, $9 at the time it was released in retail. This little tiny Batman, which if you saw my review, do you remember the review? Oh, Spot tore him a new one. In this review, he came with a very basic card, no accessories. Now, I have seen some figures on eBay and stuff like that, the basic line from Dark Knight Rises, that do come with accessories, so I'm not ruling out that the line had no accessories. I guess it depends on where that line was released. But you can see that this figure I saw at Toys R Us recently for $6.99. This toy was about $8.99, maybe $9.99. This was $6.99. You see the difference? Do I have to explain anything else? I mean, yes, he does have a cloth cape, sure. The figure itself looks pretty much the exact same figure, although one is definitely a much larger scale than the other. But this one has elbow articulation. You know, it has shoulder movement. This one has no elbow articulation. This has knee articulation. Sure, this one has knee articulation. But, you know, at least something could be said for the fact that at the time that this basic line was released, at least they've made some efforts. And that's really what Spot's talking about. At least they made some efforts, in my opinion, to release a basic toy line. When you start looking at figures like this, and they don't even have anywhere near the articulation of a Marvel Universe, and they're trying to charge this as a basic line figure, I'm sorry. That's ridiculous. I think Spot's going to stop ranting anymore about that. The face sculpt is pretty good. Again, it's on par with what you would expect from a Movie Masters line. It doesn't look like his head is on a ball joint. It looks like it just swivels back and forth. Maybe a slight bit, I don't know. There's a little bit of wear or something on the actual bat logo. But the sculpt and everything is done pretty good on him. Before we get to his gimmick, his articulation, as I mentioned, he already has the swivel in the head. Standard swiveled arms. You can't really move them too far back because the shoulder guard kind of gets in the way, especially right. There we go. It does rotate all the way. He does have a bend in the elbow. Swivel in the waist. Bend in the legs. Bend in the knees. Nothing in the foot. Now he does have a gimmick. I took the luxury. I didn't actually buy any more of the basic figures really besides the Batman. I think I bought Joker too. I don't know where I put the Joker, and I bought Scarecrow. Definitely the line was played as with every other Batman line and Spider-Man line, really any movie property line. They always plague the line with several colored versions of a figure, many different gimmicks that are just bizarre and make no sense. The Batman at least has I don't want to say a realistic gimmick, it really doesn't, but at least it's not a gimmick. You can take it off, you still have, at the end of the day, a Batman. He has these little gauntlets, armor pieces, you can see right there, and you can take those, and if all things go well and Spot can get them into place, you can snap that into his hands, into his arms, like so. They're a little large, yes. You don't have to say it, I know, they're a little large. But, at least, hello, hi, how's it going? You can then take these sword attachments, and you can install, I think you can install these in the wrist area here. I think that is correct. Yes, like so. And you can kind of, I don't think Batman would be walking around wielding giant blades like this, but, still, it's, it's something, right? It's something. So you have that. A little ridiculous. I know, it is a lot ridiculous. You can also take these same pieces, and he also comes with these holsters, or these blade handles here. You can peg them into place. I don't know if you might have to move these wrist pieces out of the way a little bit to get them in there. And you just do some finagling. There we go. And you can take those same pieces, those same blades, and snap them in like so. Like so. Get in there. They don't sit very well in here. Spot's probably have to do a little forcing. Get in there. Come on, get in there. I think Spot's going to pause the video. Be right back. Sorry about that. Spot had no idea what he was doing. But you basically just slide the bottom piece in, which makes perfect sense now that Spot thinks about it. And you have a spinning, doesn't stay in very well, but you have a spinning blade of sorts. You would almost expect a gimmick like this to have some wind back feature, maybe a button on the back, but then that would make the figure a gimmick as well, and you know how Spot feels about gimmick figures. It doesn't spin very well before this blade falls out, so it's kind of useless. It's not really a gimmick that works very well, but I guess for kids, it doesn't have to be 100% right. Kids likely may lose those pieces anyways. I shouldn't generalize. I apologize. It's not all children. Some children are very meticulous with things. I know when I was younger, I was very meticulous with stuff. There you go. That's basically all it does. It spins. Not well, but at least it spins. And at least, again, there's something more going on to it than just a very small figure. Like it or not, I mean, yes, it's got a silly gimmick, but at least at the end of the day, you can take these pieces off and you still have yourself a pretty nice overall Batman. It's not Movie Masters, but I gotta say, it's pretty gosh darn close. The Dark Knight Basic Batman, Staff Strike Batman, I'm gonna give him a 7. If you were lucky enough to pick up these figures, really, looking at what we're getting now in the way of a toy line, I really don't think these basic figures were all that bad. You can let me know your thoughts down below. Today's Toy Spot, we're having a look at Staff Strike Batman. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I apologize for any rant that Spot might have made during this review. But I just want to show you guys the comparison between what was basic at the time of Dark Knight and what is now considered basic Dark Knight Rises. It's, no pun intended, a night and day comparison. But I thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time.